Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk about the importance of the bear when we think about dungeon mastering, and what the bear illuminated for Dungeons & Dragons, and the truth that art brings forward for every dungeon master. Alright, so first of all, if you haven't watched The Bear, first of all, spoilers for The Bear, Season 1 and Season 2 in this content. If you haven't watched The Bear, it is absolutely every Dungeon Master content. 5 out of 5 star show. Really, really brilliant. And what it does is The Bear is a narrative story. Of what happens, what it takes to run a successful restaurant, right? And there's some powerful, powerful lessons that come for every Dungeon Master in The Bear. So The Bear is about two brothers. One who has self-deleted, very sad, and then left his family restaurant to another brother who is I think he was a 3-star chef, right? Which that is a big deal. A 3-star chef is, stars for any chef are extremely, like the guy who makes the pizza at your, in your town does not have a star, right? Like getting stars is a really, really big deal. And so this guy got a 3-star, he's a 3-star chef. He's a world-class chef, right? And so he's a world-class chef who has worked in Paris and New York and, Milan and Tokyo, right? But his brother dies and he has to return to Chicago, and they have a restaurant called The Original Beef, right? And it's a beef sandwich, which is absolutely fantastic. It's really extremely well-seasoned beef sandwich, and it's just delicious, and people buy it. They eat it for their, construction workers eat it for their lunch, and they love it, and people get it, and they eat it for their dinner, and they might, even like, a family of 2 might be able to split one of these sandwiches and have an amazing special meal for the evening. But one of the things that The Bear really called out is we have this situation, right, where, and basically, we definitely have this situation where dungeon mastering is exactly like the show shows, right? Cooking can be done, like you can be the town's pizza cook, no stars, right? Or you could be an incredibly good chef, the way The Bear is the main character of the show, and The Bear is the 3-star chef, and his brother was an excellent chef with no stars, but was locally renowned, and his food was highly sought after, right? So what's really interesting is you get this situation where you're going, where it shows what has to be done with dungeon mastering. So you could be the best dungeon master in the world, right? And you can have all these ideas about running Dungeons & Dragons, but are you doing it, right? Are you active in your, are you like, because the rhythm of being a chef is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you can take 2 of those out. You can specialize, you can specialize in breakfast, you can specialize in lunch, you can specialize in dinner. You can provide all of those, right? But the thing is, you have to do it on a rhythm. That restaurant has to open every day, and it has to be available to serve when the meal time is coming. And there's an urgency and a demand and a frequency on it that is absolutely grinding and soul-crushing if you are not made of steel, right? And so one of the things with dungeon mastering is you will find a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook, right, who dungeon master for a while and then drop off for years. They drop out of the frequency. They give up on the grind, right? And that's just not appropriate. You need to be able to, do the job and do the job well and not stop, right? And that is absolutely critical, that you continue to hit that grind, and you are not giving up, and you are making it work and making it happen on a routine basis, right? And this show is showing, hey, not only do you have to serve every day, not only do you have to make the meals, not only do you have to make it happen, right? It's got to be on this grind, and you need to be able to, on this high frequency, this never-ending grind, right? And I think that's very true for dungeon masters, and I think many dungeon masters forget this, and they walk away from the table, and I've met just give up for years, for decades, and they step off the frequency, right? And I think to really be a podium level dungeon master, you got to make it happen. You have to make it happen at the, at the art level, and you're always improving what you do. And in addition to that, you have to make it happen at the daily level. You cannot let up on the frequency or on the grind. And when you watch the bear, you will realize, like, I think when we're dungeon masters, we get upset. We're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and there's all these problems, right? And the bear is like, no, you are not experiencing problems in your dungeon master. This frequency will bring problems, and you have to do non-stop. You have to never quit, right? And you have to remain on the grind. You have to be an artist, and you have to be a laborer, right? And that's why there's this frequency of, I really don't think anybody should be dungeon master more than once a week. I think it's too much, and I don't think you're really maintaining quality. And I also think you absolutely cannot continue to call yourself a dungeon master if you're not hitting once a quarter, right? You absolutely have to be running at least 4 one-shots a year. There has to be a high frequency. You have to be both artist and laborer. And I think the bear beautifully illustrates this and shows how you manage this, and how you don't give up, and how you keep your spirits high,